I just don't think we've seen anything in terms of real institutional money coming into this asset class at this point. And I think that's really the place you're going to see most of the funds come in over the next 3 years. And I do expect we're going to see literally hundreds of billions, if not trillions of dollars coming in over the next 5 years, or the next three years even, maybe $1 trillion come into this asset. So I'm extremely bullish for Bitcoin. The ETFs are really the big deal, not sovereign wealth funds, not corporate treasuries, and not closed-end funds like MSTR.
The cryptocurrency market is expected to experience significant volatility over the next few years. Influenced by factors like adoption, regulation, and market sentiment, the crypto cycle is likely to fluctuate. Some experts foresee a potential bear market with values dropping by 50% or more, while others predict a supercycle with prices reaching new highs. Meanwhile, experts such as Fred Krueger predict that Bitcoin's price will follow the power law, suggesting exponential growth over time. Institutional investment and broader acceptance are driving demand for Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, which is contributing to increased volatility and possible price swings. Altcoins may see substantial fluctuations in value, potentially outperforming Bitcoin at certain times. Additionally, the rise of decentralized finance and non-fungible tokens will introduce both new opportunities and risks in the market. Fred Krueger, in a video on his YouTube channel, predicts that Bitcoin's price growth will continue to follow the power law, backed by historical data showing a logarithmic growth curve. His analysis indicates that Bitcoin could potentially reach $500,000 within the next 4 years. Furthermore, Fred believes that MicroStrategy's Bitcoin buying spree will eventually slow down, reaching around 500,000 Bitcoins as the company faces limitations in the convertible debt market. Tune in to hear more about Fred Krueger's bold predictions and insights for the next crypto cycle.
Hi guys, hope to see you guys at Dubai Token 2049. We have exclusive 10% off the limited super early bird tickets. Click the link below. This pass will grant you access to speaking sessions, networking app, exhibition hall, daily networking drinks, and also included breakfast, lunch, and coffee breaks, all included the package. I'd love to see everyone there. Peace out.
I'm going to knock off my top 5 predictions for the upcoming cycle. So the first prediction, and I know a lot of people are upset about it, is it really is that the power law is not going to break. Now, why am I so completely convinced about that? I think, it's very simple. First of all, if you look at the power law just in and of itself, you can easily think that it's wobbly and everything is going to change with the ETFs or sovereign adoption or Bitcoin strategic reserve, but I don't think so. I think it is not likely to change, and I'm going to give you a little bit of a background on that. This is here the 4-year average of the log price. Okay, so what did I do to get this? I took the Bitcoin price, I converted it into a log price, and then I averaged that log over the last 4 years. And you can see, and so this is the log of time here, and this is the log of Bitcoin price. Now, if you go to 5, that's $100,000 a Bitcoin, 10 to the power 5. 6 is a million, and we have seen that this smoothed out average log BTC price is a straight line, and the next 4 years it's going to depend. The first part's going to depend on these prices here because you're going to be averaging some of these, but where it's going to end up is going to be completely independent of any of this data. So if we go to 10 to the power 1.3, and that number is 19.9, so let's call it 20 years. That is 2029. We see that we're going to get, it's about 500K. All right, a little bit under 500K. It really doesn't seem like this path is going to do anything then continue. So that's my first real post is that the power law is probably not going to change, right? That's the first thing I was going to say. The second thing I have to say is about hold on a second. The second thing I will say is that MSTR is going to stop. They're really going to tap out in the next 4 years at about 500,000 Bitcoin. They're not going to get to 1 million Bitcoin. And I think this is important. I think MSTR has talked about deploying 42 billion. They're going to deploy that 42 billion over 2025, and they're going to continue. But let's just say they deploy 100 billion. They're not going to be able to buy 300,000 Bitcoin with that 100 billion, right? They just won't be able to do that. Unfortunately, the math does not look really great for MSTR. They already have a valuation that is in excess of the current market valuation of the Satoshi stack, which is 1 million Bitcoin. They're currently valued as if they had 1.2 million Bitcoin in their treasury. They don't. They have 350,000 Bitcoin. So I don't think they're going to be able to buy the next 300,000 Bitcoin for 100 billion. I don't. And I think that in general their strategy of tapping the convertible debt market, you're hitting the limits of that market. That is a $300 billion a year market. They can only do so much in that market. They can't take 200 billion of that $300 billion market. There's simply not going to be enough buyers of this. So as I believe that they are going to slow down.
Fred forecasts a 50% bear market over the next 3 years, which he considers relatively modest compared to previous cycles. He anticipates that this bear market will lead to a reduction in MicroStrategy's valuation. Krueger also expects lending to become a major sector, offering Bitcoin holders the opportunity to cash in on their gains without needing to sell their asset. Industry experts believe that as Bitcoin's use expands and institutional investment increases, demand for lending services will rise. Market trends suggest that lending will play a crucial role in the Bitcoin space, with numerous platforms currently exploring lending options. Let's dive back into the video for more insights from Fred Krueger.
Third prediction is I think there's going to be a bear market of something like 50% sometime in the next 3 years. Now, for those of us who've been around and who've been through some of these cycles, 50% is nothing, right? We've seen 75, 80% bear markets. I think this one will be less. I think it'll be probably something more like 50%. But I do think we're going to drop 50% from whatever high we make in the next 3 years. I also don't think this is going to happen in 2026. I think it could happen in 2027, 2028. I sort of believe that there's going to be some form of a super cycle. I don't think that the next cycle is going to be dictated by a mining halving related timeline. And I think the net of this is the power law is going to be respected. And if and when we get this bear market, I do believe that MSTR will crash a lot more than Bitcoin. So I do believe MSTR is going to go down much more than 50%. And I think it's going to revert to a multiple of 1 or even lower. I think it could trade at a discount to fair market value. Now, some of the MSTR fanboys are going to say, well, at that point they can buy back MSTR. They can do all these things, but we'll see when that happens. Look at Bitwise, BITW. I own that fund. I bought it at about a negative 25% discount. Now it's at a 15% discount. And that fund owns 75% of that fund is in Bitcoin, 10% or 15% is in Ethereum, and then they have a little bit of Solana and a few other coins. But it nevertheless remains at a discount. And you can say they don't have an operating company, but I would argue that neither does MSTR. So I think MSTR is overvalued, and I do think that in the next bear market, whenever that comes, it will contract down substantially. My fourth prediction is that the real engines of growth are going to be IBIT and FBTC. So I think that, you know, the process of having institutional investors and mainly advisors managed accounts are going to be the next big block of buyers. Now, if you look at the overall kind of way wealth is set up, you have about 1/3 is sort of self-directed, you know, people just going to their brokerage accounts and making their own investment decisions. 1/3 of the wealth is in managed accounts where people are managing these investment decisions for other people. And I've mentioned that my mother has a managed account at Morgan Stanley, for example. And, you know, a lot of this managed money, almost none of it has really hit the market yet. And the third part is institutional, pension funds, retirement accounts and stuff. So, you know, I just don't think we've seen anything in terms of real institutional money coming into this asset class at this point. And I think that's really the place you're going to see most of the funds come in over the next 3 years. And I do expect we're going to see literally hundreds of billions, if not trillions of dollars coming in over the next 5 years, or the next three years even, maybe $1 trillion come into this asset. So I'm extremely bullish for Bitcoin, but I definitely think, and I go back to my original premise that I made when I first started talking on Twitter, which I think that the ETFs are really the big deal, not sovereign wealth funds, not corporate treasuries, and not closed-end funds like MSTR. And my fifth prediction is that lending is going to become a significant business, right? So a lot of people, a lot of Bitcoiners are now sitting on pretty big gains in Bitcoin, and they would like to tap some of those gains without selling their Bitcoin, without selling their ETF.
Bitcoin has repeatedly defied predictions of its demise, with mainstream media declaring it dead over 400 times in the past 14 years. Despite these pessimistic forecasts, Bitcoin has staged a remarkable recovery, with its value increasing steadily. For example, a $100 investment in Bitcoin back in October 2010, when it was declared dead, would now be worth over $11 million. Bitcoin's recent price fluctuations demonstrate its resilience. After being written off multiple times, it has surged to near six-figure prices. As of late November, Bitcoin had recovered 5.9%, surpassing $997,500, and analysts are now predicting that Bitcoin could reach $100,000 in the coming months. The global money supply, expected to peak at $127 trillion by 2026, could further drive Bitcoin's value, with some economists projecting it will attract an additional $2 trillion in investment. While some analysts are optimistic about Bitcoin's long-term potential, others remain cautious. Sherman Snitch, CEO of Ramp Network, believes a $110,000 Bitcoin is likely, though it's unclear whether this will happen by year-end. As Bitcoin continues to gain attention, its next steps could have significant implications for the financial world. Could we be getting closer to a $1 million Bitcoin?